Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to get on and finally fix the fuel system. I have a brand new fuel pump with a few component pieces around that I need to fit. Hopefully it's going to be the fix that I need to complete the fuel system issues. So if you've watched and followed on previous videos, you would have seen the trials and tribulations that I've been through in fault finding the issues with the fuel system, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this fuel pump might be the answer. So I'm going to take you through some of the bits, and then we'll get out to the car and I'll take you through the steps of fitting a new fuel pump to the fuel system. Okay, so here are all the bits that I need to complete the job of fitting the fuel pump. It's on a Porsche 924 2 litre. So when you are sourcing parts, obviously check in terms of the fuel pump itself to make sure it has all the right outputs for your fuel system, PSI and so on. But yeah, this one I sourced, it was nicely finished in blue, which is an added bonus based on the car being blue, but usually these are just finished in silver. One thing that does come with my particular fuel pump, and I recommend that everyone try and get this, is one of these sort of sleeves. It's like a wetsuit material. Basically fits around the fuel pump, and when you lock it into place with the bracket, it just yeah, helps with noise and vibrations, and yeah, it's a nice added piece. So see, when you are sourcing a fuel pump, if you make sure it does come with that type of sleeve. So in addition, I mean, generally when people do this job, it's usually the fuel pump and this particular hose pipe here. This hose connects the fuel pump in the bottom of the fuel tank to the fuel pump, the outer fuel pump. So there's generally two fuel pumps on this setup, and this is the one that yeah, connects the two. Mine has a very nasty bodge job setup that someone's cut pipes because obviously they couldn't be bothered to buy the actual bit. It is a bit more expensive. I think this one was about 17-18 quid for this one pipe, but hey, if you're going to do the job properly, then best to get the right component pieces, because this will last a good amount of time. Likewise with the clips, always very useful to get the right type of fuel and hose clips, not Jubilee clips, because you don't want any type of cut on your hose or anything as you're tightening up. So those are the right ones to get, the fuel clips. Make sure they're the right sizes on the millimeters and so on. I think these are, I think from memory serves me right, it's between 15 and 17 mil, and as you tighten them down, they'll fit nicely. And then the final piece, a lot of people will generally stay away from this because of how much of a pig this part of the job is, and that is the fuel pipe that connects the pump to the accumulator. So this part here will fit to the top of the pump here, and there's another bracket on the top which I'll show you out on the car, and then that pipe will join to here with this fitting which screws into the top of the accumulator. It can be a real pig, and I know mine's going to be. I don't think mine's moved since factory, to be honest. It looks that bad. So it's a job that, if you're going to do, get it done, because it will last another 20-30 years. It makes it all worthwhile. So if you are interested in that pipe, because they are generally a specialist order pipe from Porsche or maybe a good supplier, then that is the code that you generally need. So the 477, just to make sure you've got the right length and right fittings on either end. So that's the collection of stuff, the kit that I'm going to do, fit on my car to get the fuel system back up and running. So let's get out there and get this job done. the car, we've disconnected the battery and the power supply is a must, and it does look like that there and around here that you might think there has been a leak, but it hasn't. I've just been spraying penetrating fluid onto some of these very rusty, very nice looking clamps, although that one there does look okay. So that's the pump that we have to remove, and you can see the very strange setup that I have on mine to the pump in the tank. Quite a bizarre curve here, although it's meant to be curved like that. That pipe is certainly not designed to curve. This one's been made to, and you can see it's pinched it, and also the pipe is looking a bit, yeah, doesn't feel that tough as it should be. One thing to make sure you always have is glasses on, because you always get things falling in your eyes which isn't great. So yeah, this is where we have to disconnect this here. You can see the fitting to the pump itself and the electrical connectors, which we have to take apart, and then this pipe here, this is the one that goes off to the accumulator, which, if I can get up there, fits there. That's the one I think is going to be an issue. Anyway, let's start taking all of this apart. So we've disconnected the pipe from the rear of the pump, and as you can see, that is now draining nicely into a large jerry can. 10 litres I think, but we'll see if there's any more. I've got a spare can just in case, but we'll wait for this to drain and then get on and remove this pipe and start removing the fuel pump itself. Okay, so this is the last few drops, as you can see, just coming out at the bottom of the tank. So maybe a litre there and a full 10 litres there. So yeah, I was hoping it wouldn't be so much, but there it is. Just about to finish, and then next job is to actually move on to seeing if I can loosen the accumulator. Yeah, the accumulator piping on that bolt just there. Please come undone. Let's give it a go. Best to make sure you're going to use the right spanner as well is just to take the new one and test it against the spanner that you have. So As you can see, that's the 17, and that fits perfectly. Let's hope this comes off. So you can see that the accumulator has now come down from its bracket here, mainly because the rubber grommets that or bushings that hold it have perished and fallen apart. So now they are just, as you can see, stuck here and here, and this is the pipe that I need to remove, and it is stuck solid, and I've put more penetrating fluid on it. Yeah, you start to now think about just leaving this pipe and just changing the fuel pump and this pipe and just forgetting about this one altogether. It needs to be done though, should be done, but is turning into a right pig now, and yeah, running out of options. Sometimes hate classic cars, in fact a lot of times. Okay, let's see if I can remove some of this stuff. Fingers crossed. Good way to remove bushings that have become detached from their I guess plate, just to show you. You can see, because usually you have a bolt either side of them, and you know, hold one side with a set of, or with a wrench, and do the other one. If not, you can use a set of monkey grips and just hold it in place while you wrench it out, like so. Got to come up with ways to remove bolts, and there you go. Now to try and remove those ones there on the actual bracket that's holding the accumulator. So that is the fuel pump disconnected from the bracket on the car. As you can see, there are three basically holding places, 1, 2 and then 3. The third is a bit of a pain because you have to reach up and grab it and have a spanner on one side and a wrench on the other. But there you can see, that is my fuel pump, ready to be disconnected. And yeah, let's see if all this now comes apart, because that's the pipe that goes to the accumulator, which I cannot remove because it is stuck fast to the accumulator. So my hope is we can just replace the pump maybe try and tidy this part up a little bit. Anyway, let's crack on. So, just trying to remove the pipe now from the pump in the bottom of the tank, and as you can see, this has rusted so badly that it's molded to the pipe, and the pipe is just falling apart. I mean, it's I'm amazed this thing wasn't leaking before. Just a little bit of pressure and the whole thing is just, as you can see, disintegrating. So remove that. As you can see, I removed the pump, but there's no way I can change this accumulator pipe without breaking the accumulator, I think. So I think I'm gonna have to stick with this for the moment and try and give this a bit of a clean up in some respects. Okay, let's continue. Right, so here is the nasty pump that I removed. As you can see, it's pretty corroded and looking a bit worse for wear. Nice bit of fuel still there. That's the bracket, which I will take back to the metal as best I can and repaint this and refurb. Some random Jubilee clip around that, so we'll get a new one of those. And there is the strange but true fuel pipe that was joined from the pump in the tank to this pump here, with a set of very rusty clips. And as you can see, yeah, pretty worse for wear. And that's the end of the fuel pump in the tank, which I will now clean up and get ready for the new pipe and so on. So let's continue. Okay, cleaned that up now, so that is all good, connector's good, and that's ready now for the new pipe to be installed. Now let's try and make this one look half decent. So everyone, this is the dreaded bolt nut that's connecting this fuel pipe here to the top of the accumulator, and as you can see, you have to get a 17mm spanner on the top nut, and then there's a holding captive nut which is fitted to the top of the accumulator, if you can see there, which is a 14mm, and then basically you have to pull this one left and this one right, the opposite directions, to crack the nut. So it's just cracked, which is great. So that is a that's a good step forward. The next one is to take this this part here, this unit, away from this pipe. So there's a bolt here and a holding nut here, so hopefully you can crack these two apart and remove this pipe and replace it with the new one. Let's do it. Okay, so the pipe is off, and that was a pig of a job, mainly because of this part here. As you can see, this should turn freely, and this was jam solid, so I had to really wrench, and it finally gave up and allowed me to just undo it, because otherwise, as you see here, you can get stuck by the other pipe here being in the way, so you have to be able to unturn the bolt or the nut. So okay, let's try and fit the new one now. We are halfway through the job. We have managed to disconnect the pipe from the fuel pump to the accumulator, as you can see, and disconnected it also from the fuel pump in the tank, and the brackets are empty as the fuel pump is out, and here are the connecting wires, as you can see. So we are halfway through this job, and we are now ready to start assembling all the new stuff ready to go back on. Okay everyone, so here we have the removed old fuel pump and old pipe that connected from here to the accumulator, and in two parts a piece of pipe that looks like it was bodged together to create the pipe that connects from the fuel tank into the fuel pump itself. What was interesting is they did have a fuel connector which looks like a sort of a mini fuel filter, if you can just see in there. Anyway, won't be needing that on the new parts, so these, as you can see, look a little bit worse for wear, and yeah, there's a good time to replace. Likewise, this one here, the actual pipe itself doesn't look too bad, but yeah, a lot of the fittings very corroded, and yeah, it makes sense to do that that pipe as well. I know it's a pain, it's a real tough one, this one, but if you can get it done, then it's well worth doing. What is stopping me now? So as you can see, this particular fuel pump, I've managed to colour and basically grind down to find the markings of the number. So you can see it was originally a Bosch pump, and I believe this is a discontinued pump, but there is alternatives to this. The fuel pump I have got, although is good in terms of the PSI and everything that it puts out, it has an issue with this connector here. Now, these can be changed rather than the whole fuel pump. So as you can see here, that screws in to the fuel pump. So that then allows you to put this connector here, and mine has this this part here, which I've cleaned up and just painted, ready to refit, but that there fits on the top of the fuel pump connector. So I think what I need to know is what this is. I think I have looked high and low, and I can see that from various fuel systems you can get pump blanks, or they call them pump blank ends, which basically means that you can get a bolt that fits on the here that basically blanks this. But if you look inside, it seems to be pretty good condition, but has some sort of mechanism which would I want to say it's some sort of fuel regulator, maybe a pressure regulator of some sort. So as I said, this sits on the end, and this pipe here goes off to the accumulator, which also is a part that you know, make sure that your pressure is constant to the engine. So I'm a little bit stuck on this. So I've written to the well, I've contacted the guys that gave me the original fuel pump, and my question is really about getting a different connector, which is this type of connector. So it's sort of a larger end into the fuel pump and a thinner end to this part here. On the new fuel pump, it's the other way around. So it's the thin part goes into the pump and the large part comes out, which obviously means this part doesn't connect. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain. I'm hoping it might be just the connector that I can source. If not, it might be send the new pump back and try and find a replacement for this one on a Bosch. So the search continues, but this is really a wrap for the first part of the video in terms of getting all of the component pieces off the car, in terms of changing the fuel pump and connecting pipes. So bit of a slog, but hope that has been useful. This is, as I said, part one. Part two, I'm hoping to get done in the next week once I have sorted out the issues with the pump and the connector there. But thanks for watching. Thanks for following and the support, and the next video will be along very soon.